Now, I wrote, remote controls are better than women because this cover letter was probably one of the best cover letters I ever wrote in my life. And it's probably why I only had 3 rejection letters. And I'll read it to you. Dear Kathy, does your husband sprawl in his recliner every night, one hand on his remote and the other on his, well, on anything but you? If you stood in front of the TV wrapped in cellophane, what would he do? Punch the channel buttons to make you disappear? Well, here it is, Kathy, the book that makes him say out loud what his cowardly heart has concealed all this time. Remote controls are better than women because ... And that was really, you know, I think it really hit the editor over the head and said, this is why they want this book. And then, of course, if it's a picture book, you can give a little sample. If it's a humor book, give a little bit of a sample. And then I said, you know, remote controls are better than women because you can swap them with your friends. They have a mute button, and they never fake it. And I put, and all the other reasons he admits only to his chums at work. Face it, Kathy, there's another love in his life, and it's time you made him admit it. And then I put about my book, the enclosed book, Remote Controls Are Better Than Women Because, is an adult humor book with a format, and then I tell them a little bit about what I envision, a format to have 1 cartoon on each page with 1 line of type. Because you sort of want to show your vision. You know, what do you envision this book to look like? And then I say, of course, I'm polite. Thank you in advance for reviewing my work. I look forward to hearing from you. I'm treating this as an exclusive submission for 6 to 8 weeks. I've changed that now. It's actually, she only gives them 4 weeks. And then you just send it out again. You don't wait for these people to answer you because it might be 4 years. Food Fright, I actually had a rejection letter that was 4 years old. After Food Fright came out and it was already published, then I got a rejection letter from somebody. So, you know, it could be 4 years, it could be a year. You know, things are going on in your life. You can't wait around. You know, that's why I have you fill out these charts. Because as soon as 4 weeks hits, I want you to go to number 2. Yeah. 4 more weeks, number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then, you know, it's out there to 20 publishing companies. That's great. And that's why I want it on a list so you don't have to think about it again.
Why would you wait 4 weeks? Can you choose perhaps 3 at a time, or
you could, but a lot of places, and they'll say it in here, they only want exclusive submissions now. Oh. So you tell them you're giving them exclusive submission now, only for 4 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks. You can write whatever you want, so that they know that if they really want this book, they better act on it really quick, because you already have it out already. You know, depending on what your date is. You know, this one was June 17, 2000. You know, obviously. But and then the reason why I also, if you're writing now and you really want to get published, you sort of want to have, if you want to hit the big boys, you sort of want to have something on the bottom like a credential. I mean, don't put in, if you're writing a teaching book, great. In your credential, tell them that you are a teacher. But if you're writing a book about the railroads and you're a teacher, they don't care. You know, they don't care. Well, if you're writing a book about running, I hope you're a runner. Because that's important to them, because they want you to know you know your field. But if you really want to be serious about writing, try writing articles now so you can get a byline. You know, I write articles for the Courier News, say, or they want to see that you're serious, that you're a real writer. You know, if you just sign your name and you don't have any credentials on the bottom, that could be another, you know, chance for another rejection, because then once they like this book, they have to take it to a meeting. So they're like, hey, no, this is a really good book. Now I have to go to a meeting and sell it to marketing. I have to sell it to sales. I have to sell it to the reps. I have to sell it to the vice president. So your book better be really, really awesome to make them want to put themselves on a line and go to a meeting. Do you know what I mean by that? So they're your cheerleader. Let's talk about agents, actually. Agents, my agent could be the person that I live with next door. Anybody could be an agent. You want a good agent. And sometimes right now the good agents aren't taking anybody unless they have, you know, like 10 books behind them, because they're taking a chance too. They're actually doing your homework, submitting to people too. And you only want a good agent who has contacts. I mean, my next door neighbor could be my agent. But does she have contacts? Absolutely not. She sells Avon. So what good does that do for me? You really need an agent that has the good contacts. You need an agent that lives in New York who's with the publishing companies. You need an agent who's not going to charge you a reading fee. Don't go to anybody who's going to charge you $500 to read your manuscript. They want it like this because, see, they're doing apples with apples. and everybody submits like this, it's a very strange field. It's
hard to get a version off of the paper, though.
Yeah, but they claim, the editors all claim, that they have vision. Now, that's the other thing. You might get an editor who doesn't have vision. And that's, then you're going to know that because the rejection letter is going to come back. They're not going to get what you were trying to say. I'm actually going to tell you the second most important thing about trying to get published is belonging to an association. Now, I write children's books. I used to write adult humor books. But there's associations in the back of this book for novelists. There's associations for mystery writers. And you have to join these associations. And the reason you have to join these associations is because they send out newsletters. And the newsletters tell you about the seminars where you can meet the editors are coming up. And you can meet editors one-on-one. And I'll tell you, I have a lot of really nice rejection letters from editors that I've met one-on-one. So the trick is to meet the editors one-on-one, and you get these awesome rejection letters. And you might, actually, my Rooster Can't Cock-a-Doodle-Doo was sold at a seminar. I met the editor one-on-one, and she took Food Fright and Rooster Can't Cock-a-Doodle-Doo because she saw me face-to-face, and that's a big difference. These people are getting your letters, and you're not a person to them. You're just a piece of paper. If you can meet them one-on-one, you have a one-up. They'll be a lot nicer to you, and they seem really nice when you meet them. So really join an association. This is the Society of Children's Book and Writers Association, but there are novelist associations, there's mystery book associations, there's journalist associations, there's associations all over the place. But the goal is to find out in these newsletters when they're having their seminars and how you can meet an editor one-on-one. That's the really, really, really important part. And that's how, how in this book, you'll see we don't take unsolicited manuscripts. You'll see that a lot. If anyone has this book at home, they'll say, we need an agent, or we don't take unsolicited manuscripts. But if you meet the editor one-on-one, it's no longer an unsolicited manuscript. And you say to her at the end, before she leaves you, you say, can I send you more of my stuff? And now you can write requested material on your envelope. And that puts you into a whole different pile. And they really do have piles that's scary. They have the slush pile, the people that they don't know. Then they have the requested material pile. Very, very important. If you can write requested material on your folder, it's a whole much smaller pile and a more important pile. Really important. And that's how to get past all of that stuff. That's how to get past, we don't take people without agents. We don't take people that are unsolicited. If you meet the editor one-on-one and you can write requested material, they know they've met you. Oh, if they want to see a revision, that's a whole different ballgame. Yeah, requested material, but, right from you, March 21st, anything you can say. Because, another thing is, they have assistants sometimes. And they're not often opening their own envelopes. But if the assistant sees requested material, it goes right to that specific editor.
So I would write requested material.
Yeah, requested material. Mm-hmm. Okay. And, a lot of people say to me, well, can I lie and say I went to that conference? I'm like, you're taking a big chance, because what if one day they want your manuscript and then you have to meet them and they're like, I never met you. How would you feel? You would feel betrayed. I know I would. If you're a graphic designer, there's a different book. I know I was writing greeting cards for a while, and it's a whole different book. It's called the Graphic Designer's Writer's Market. For puzzles, for greeting cards, for postcards. It's a whole different book. But again, it tells you where you can send your books, or whatever you want to send them. Let's see. I just want to make sure I don't forget anything.
I have a question.
Oh, sure.
You mentioned something about picture books.
Right.
You would submit your photographs in that.
Well, are you a photographer?
Yeah.
Okay, if you're a photographer, then you can submit your photos along with manuscript. So that would be really important for their vision. Okay, so I would do that if I were you, submitting that. Okay, now once you have your top 20, another trick to help you write your cover letter better is call the top 20 and then request a catalog from each one of them, and I'll tell you why you're going to do that. A big part of the editor's job is to help put together the catalog. And they write the blurbs in the catalog. So if you're targeting like Hyperion Books for Children, you want to write like the blurb in their catalog, because that's how they wrote. So if you can write like them, that's another way to get rid of another rejection letter. Any editor has to write a blurb in their catalog to help sell that book, and they're all very different. So when you request the catalogs from each one of them, you are going to have to write different cover letters, unfortunately, for different publishing companies. And if you send out a cookie cutter cover letter, they're going to know, because they're going to feel it. It's not for them. It's not personalized for them. You didn't do your research. So, again, their name has to be right, their title has to be right, and if you can write like them, that's going to be like, hey, this person likes what I like. And they write like I write. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, they don't know that you're doing these tricks. They have no idea. They just think that you write like they like, and they're going to like your work a lot better because you're hitting on a topic that they feel that they know well. So that's another thing. And it takes a while to get the catalogs, unfortunately. But the good part is, I started doing this before the internet. Now the catalogs are on the internet, so you can just go to the internet right now and plug in Hyperion Books for Children, and their catalog comes up, and you can read the blurbs, you can print it out, and you can write like the cover letter that you want to write. And of course, the cover letter is going to be much better because you're writing with substance. You're writing with character. You're seeing what they're writing in their blurbs, and they're trying to. When they write this catalog copy, this is a rep going out to bookstores, trying to sell these books based on the blurbs. So when you're writing your cover letters, you're trying to get the editor to buy your book based on your blurb. So it's all about blurbs. It's really all about blurbs. Okay? It's really, really important. Another thing, this is really big. I work on 40 books at the same time. I would never be able to keep track of them if I didn't have a binder. You have to write. I have a loose leaf with little indexes on, let's say Food Fright was one of them, Rooster Can Cock-a-doodle-doo was another little part. You write who you sent it out to, the date, because after 3 months I call. And I'm like, hey, I sent you Food Fright back in January. Did you get a chance to read it yet? And they're like, no, I'm 6 months behind. And you're like, great, okay, whatever. But I give them 3 months. If I've met an editor one-on-one, I'm still sending stuff out, but after 3 months I call. Because 3 months is a long time. They shouldn't still have it. That's a really long time. And sometimes you call, they're 6 months behind. They're a year behind. They only work on Halloween books in November. Or they only work on Halloween books in, starting November 1st to November 15th. Or they have these weird things that you have to do. And, or they only look at manuscripts in the month of June. It's very strange. So you really have to keep track of when you sent it, to whom you sent it to, and because if you ever need to, you want to see who you sent it to and how long it took. And also, I keep track of how long certain editors take. If a certain editor takes a year to get back to me, I don't want to send her something else. I can send it to another editor and get something back faster. You know what I mean? What I was saying about the top 20 is I want the top 20 marked in here, and then every 4 weeks I want you to send it out to the next publisher. And then, I know it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, and people are like, oh, you published 8 books, and once you write the book, that's the easy part. It's the selling the book and getting paid for the book that's really hard, and it could take a really long time. Well, you know what? You can get really nice rejection letters and really bad ones, and let me go over that right now. Actually, I think I have it in here. I have an oxymoron rejection letter binder, and that means some of them are really good rejection letters, and those are the ones when I get really upset about writing, I look back on and go, you know what, these are really nice letters to me. And some of them have come from editors that I've met one-on-one, and that's why I said it was really important. Here's a form letter that you don't want to get. Dear contributor, thank you for letting us see your material. After giving it careful consideration, we are sorry to say, obviously it's not for me. It says the editors. This is a form letter. You don't want these. And I'm telling you how not to get them. Remember, you have to target the editors properly. You have to, take care of your spelling errors. You don't want to get a form letter. A form letter means they didn't even read your manuscript that you spent so much time on. They didn't, But this letter, the letter before that, says Dear Karen. Now that's even better. Now it says Dear Karen colon. Had it been Dear Karen comma, it would have been even better. But that's okay, I'll take colon, Dear Karen colon. It says, thank you for sending, and I took it out. I can tell you had fun writing it. I love the variety of characters and gruesome dishes. That was actually food praise. And as usual, your rhymes seem effortless. As this stands, however, I feel it's too listlike to sell well in hardcover. But that's a really, I mean, it went on, but that's a really nice letter. You want to get something like that. And you do want to send the next one to this person because she did take the time to write a really nice letter to you. And did she say anything at the end? Oh, here, I would be happy to look at a revision. Now, I did revise it for her, but she still didn't like it, and that's not my problem. You know, I sent it actually to something else, to someplace else, and they bought it. So it was just not what she was looking for at the time. And sometimes that happens. You do a revision. I've done, for Charles Bridge Publishing Company, I did 5 revisions for them. They still didn't take the book.